Hey everybody, welcome to the Herd Fit Podcast with Dr. Sam Rhee and myself, Coach David Syvertsen. This podcast is aimed at helping anyone and everyone looking to enhance their healthy lifestyle through fitness, nutrition, and most importantly, mindset.
All right, welcome back to the Herd Fit Podcast. I'm Coach David Syvertsen. I'm here with my co-host, Dr. and Coach Sam Rhee, and we have part 2 of our special guest series with Kevin Yurchak and Dan Coda. If you didn't listen to last week, go check it out. They gave their review of the workouts, the event itself at Masters Fitness Championship. But as I was prepping for this, I was just starting to write down some notes about the competition and things I wanted to ask them. And the more I started to write, the more I started to realize I wanted to get as much input from these two guys for you, but also selfishly for myself as to why are they still doing this at this age? How are they still doing this at this age? And what can we take from their experience? I've known both these guys for in the CrossFit space for over a decade now. I had someone recently show me a picture from a CrossFit Winter Challenge. I think the year was 2012. It was the final event of thrusters and rope climbs. I didn't know how to climb a rope at the time, and I got embarrassed in front of everybody. And in that heat there were two guys in that heat that are very well known here. Kevin is one of them. He was in that final heat. And Tim Carroll was also in that.
Oh, get out, yeah.
Yep. And, we were in the final event. They all watched me do it because I didn't know how to climb a rope. Those ropes in Hoboken are like a joke, too. They're like 11 feet off the ground. So you can basically jump your way up there. But, and Kev was a regional competitor 2011. We told the story before. Between Dan and I, we started in the same fundamental/beginner class. And, it's amazing how things have come full circle. I'm really thankful that they're both members at the gym. Really thankful I get to train with them when we can. Obviously, it's always tough to do, line up schedules. But what I want to get from them, now that we're done talking about the Masters Fitness Championship, was what has the process been of the long game for guys that are getting older? You're fighting biology, which we all lose at some point, right? You're going to get old enough to the point you can't do things anymore. That's going to happen. You both have had multiple kids since that time. You guys both have had multiple career changes. You guys both work your butts off in and out of the gym. Why can someone do that and really still compete at a high level of CrossFit? Whether you compete or not, whether you want to or not, I think there's lessons to be learned from the two of these guys that you can apply to your personal lives, your workout lives, both now and in the future. So, Sam, you two are in this discussion. I've told you before, I look up to you a lot. Someone that's, older than the three of us, but you're still in the game. You're coaching CrossFit. You're here 5-6 mornings a week. Just opening thoughts on some of the kind of lifestyle situations and lifestyle decisions that we have all had to make, but you in particular, to keep yourself in this game, in this situation.
I think I'm more impressed with these two because my kids are older. Like I have one in high school, is finishing, one's in college. When you have young kids and you're in the middle of, you're in the prime of your career in terms of your jobs and what you're doing, I remember when I was your guys' age, I was busier than I couldn't believe. Just my mind was exploding with how do I handle this and that and all of this at the same time. But I see you guys, and you guys are maintaining literally an elite level of fitness. You move better than pretty much anyone I've seen, I would say, in real life and at our gym. And yet you also just found time to go and compete for 3 days in a different state and prep. I mean, the competing is one thing, but the preparation, we all know, is really where the time management has to come in and perform at an elite level. So, and it's been, like you said, over 10 years, and yet you guys are still doing it. I actually want to get into your heads and see, what is it that drives you guys to do this? Because I'm kind of tired. I'm a little I think about what it takes to compete at that level, and I'm like, that the programming, the training, the nutrition, the sleep, your recovery management, all of those things take such effort and energy, and yet you guys manage to do this while juggling 5 other things at the same time.
Dan, let's start off with this. What's your why? Why do you do this? What is your why?
Oh, man. That is a good question. Something I think about a lot, actually. and that's definitely changed over the years. You know, when I first started CrossFitting, I was just always trying to find a different thing to keep some sort of fitness. And most of the time, mostly back then, it was aesthetically, I was trying to just look better.
Right.
My very first competition was Hoboken Winter Challenge one year, and I was like, whoa, something lit. There was like a fire lit up inside me, and it was like, man, I was not a college athlete. I played pretty much any sport I could through high school. With my friends, we were always out just like playing street football and stuff like that. Even for years after, we had like a turkey bowl every year with my friends that I would run that and make sure that I can get as many guys as I could, and we would get that going.
Yeah.
Now we don't do that because we are worried about our every joint.
Achilles.
But it was like that competitiveness that I was like, oh man, this is something that is deep down inside me and that I forgot about. And I was trying to find holes to fill that. You know, I did all kinds of stuff to try to fill that. And when I found that, like, oh, I can compete again, like that was a big, it was something that's just inside me that I can't control, that I need to express some way. And
Yeah, it's a big part of who you are.
Yeah. And I definitely, you know, that's been in my career life as well, and it's helped push me there. And through the gym, it's helped push me. I've had to learn to, over the years, on how to not let that take over though. Because there was a good part of my life where I started getting good at CrossFit. Like, I definitely was not good at CrossFit when I started. I
Confirmed.
Yeah. I actually, you know, I've only become good friends with Kevin in the last couple of years as a Bison member. But before that, I definitely knew who he was because I would see him at these competitions. Yeah. I'm like, who is this Greek god and why is he so amazing at CrossFit?
Hey, why does he never look like it's hard?
But now, even not having kids, it's definitely shifted in a place where I want to be an example for them. I want to show them that, you know, there's nothing that can stop you. If you want something bad enough, if you work hard enough at it, you're going to get close to what you want, at least.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where my mind's at now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it does. Your why does shift over the years. Kev, you know, you're an incredibly high level athlete, CrossFit regional competitor. You know, now you're still at a very high level after all these changes in your life. What has changed about your why back then, and where it was a little bit easier to plan and map out things, contrast where it is now?
Yeah, I mean, obviously going back from when I started, and I think I started in like January 2010. Give a shout out to Red Shed CrossFit is where I started, and I had been working with Pat and Janine over there for like a long time, and it was very different then. It was competitiveness. It was getting into it. It was like, you know, and it was like the sky was the limit at that point. Like when I went there with one of my friends, and we both competed at regionals that year, and it was like, all right, like we're gonna do it again next year. We're gonna keep going, and it was like, you know what, and that just didn't happen. You know, like the sport caught up to these unbelievable athletes that you're now competing against all the time, and how much everything has evolved during that point. But it was always, all right, I'm chasing this goal, I'm chasing this, and it was, you know, went from that, and then owning a gym, and you know, spending my time there, putting it into that, trying to help, you know, really change people's lives, you know, get the word of CrossFit out to everybody. But that competitiveness has always been there, and you know, as like when we started competing against each other, whatever it was, that, you know, 2012, whatever, it was like there was stuff all the time. It was like every weekend, like, what are you doing? We'll see you in 2 weeks, we'll compete against you here. And it probably wasn't healthy.
Definitely not.
We were just like, hey,
it's kind of what Alex is doing right now.
Yeah,
you know, just like every month or something. And back then there was a lot more demand for local competition.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it does, you know, it really just evolves over time. It's something that like I can't shake. I still enjoy it so much. The timing of actually competing now is a lot harder. As you mentioned, you know, the Masters Fitness Championship, it was awesome, but it's like that's not something I can do on a regular basis. I can't be like, hey, I'm, you know, see a family, I'm flying out and I'm back in a couple of days, and you know, it's just not something that is reality anymore. So I still, you know, compete every day, whether it's myself in the gym or whether it's in my garage. I still have goals. I still have times that I want to hit on workouts. I know where I should be, and if I'm not there, it doesn't matter whether I'm, you know, in a coliseum doing it or whether I'm just doing it in my garage by myself. But that competitiveness is always there, and it, you know, as mentioned, it changes over time. It changes from the age division you're in to the people you're competing against. But as of now, it's something that's still there, and it still kind of fulfills me as a person.
So all this positive talk about competing and getting after it, everything's all daisies and you feel great, right? But what would you say to the person, or what would you say to yourself, Dan? You just said last week, you ask yourself, I've said this myself too. I've sent text messages to Ashley at a comp saying, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. It's usually after a really hard workout with thrusters in it. But, what do you say to someone when they hit that wall, whether it's injury, whether it's motivation, whether they were let down by a result that they were pursuing for a long time? The reason I wanted to ask you guys what your why was, because to me, your why, some of us don't know. A lot of people don't know their why. And I think if you really have a strong grip on what your why is, it answers all these questions. It's the solution to every time you go down this path of, should I be doing this? Why am I doing this? What are some of the things that you really recall on and think about and do, and actually physically, logistically do, when you hit those low points that are, hey, come from injury, but also being a dad, having a career, going through the ups and downs of life, knowing that other people have to make significant sacrifices for you to go to compete? What can you say to yourself and other people that are going to go down that path?
Yeah. Let me start with the other people making sacrifices. That is 100% true. I would not be able to do this if my wife, Michelle, did not fully support me and what my goals are.
That's true.
Amazing.
Yeah.
She steps up to the plate anytime I am like, can I go compete? She never puts me down in that way, because she knows I love it, and that we are both, we've come to an understanding after having kids that we needed to first, I think I heard you say this a couple weeks ago, fill up our cup before we can start filling up everybody else's cup. We learned on with our marriage that we need to focus on our marriage before we focus on our kids. So there's like an order that we've kind of figured out for ourselves to want to do this, to whatever we want to do to accomplish. So now I've lost my train of thought, but
that's a great answer in itself. The how vital it is to have the support of either a friend, family, spouse, based on what situation you're in, that you really can't pursue this kind of stuff without that kind of support.
Yeah, 100%. And then when you get to those points when you start questioning yourself, you kind of just gotta let those feelings come out and just kind of deal with it for like a day or two, and be like, not let a fleeting moment or disappointment. I've had lots of disappointments in where I'm like, man, why am I not as good as those other people? Why are these people beating me? And I used to get really down on myself about it, until Michelle one day was like, look what you're doing. Like, you need to shift your mind, because you're doing this for fun, but it's making it not fun for you, not fun for me. And you're just a drag to be around, for a while. So I had to, I've definitely.
She'll give it to you straight.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. So there's definitely just a realizing that, this is a life. If you love this, make it a lifelong journey, and start to shift your mindset away from the result versus like, man, I love coming into the gym every day.
Process over result.
Yeah. I went to a point where I was only working out by myself because I was trying to do specific programming. I had to program for myself. I can't, get coaches to program only for me, not the class environment. But I lost why I loved CrossFit, which is I love being around everybody. I love shared suffering. I love coming to class every day and hanging out and BSing with everybody, but then working out hard next to everybody. And my overall workouts got better and better. I became better and better because I stayed on track with why I love it.
Here, Kev, the idea, like what we're trending towards right now, and I'm glad, just building off what Dan says, but I want your input on this. Filling your cup up before you serve others, right? I think a big reason why we do this to ourselves is that we know we're better people because of it. Like we feel more complete when we're pursuing something that might be out of our reach, but it kind of keeps us in check. It also keeps us humble, because this stuff is so humbling. And I really do think being humble is a huge part of CrossFit. And we're going to do an episode on that soon, of humility and how it relates to the sport, and how, we've all been there before and we're going to be there again. That's another thing that we need to know. We're going to be humbled again in CrossFit. Do you feel pursuing something like this actually makes you a better father, a better husband, a better employee, because of all the ups and downs and the fact that you have to figure out solutions to problems and work your way there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's every day you have to do something to take the step to get a little bit better. And I think, so many people get sidetracked in it if, they have letdowns, and you talk about things like that, where it's like, you're not going to get there today. You're not going to get there tomorrow. It's just making little steps every day in order to get to your ultimate goal. And, for me, I can tell if I don't move, if I don't do the things that, for me, whether even it's just mentally being like, all right, I need to get outside. I need to do something quickly. If it's, there's kids, schedules and everything, sleeping doesn't work out well. I need that time. And it's not only for me, it's not by myself. When I go out and if I come here, if Rain is here, if one of us is working out in the garage, something we're mix and matching schedules back and forth. Our kids are with us. So, when I open that garage door and my 2 kids are running out there, it's like, all right, it's time to go work out. And they're there, they're mimicking us. Sometimes they're just, playing, eating ice pops, but other times like they're watching us. And it makes you a better person. I'm happier afterwards. I have more patience with them. It's like, it really is unbelievable the effect that it has on you just as a person in general.
So to build off that, working out in different environments, at a gym, in your garage, by yourself, with Raina, with your kids, you guys have been through it all.
Yeah.
Just, to describe, some, again, we're talking to people that want to play the long game and what can they learn from you guys. Describe what your reactions and how you prepare for the fact that, sometimes you're not going to be with your friends when you work out. Sometimes you're not going to have the playlist you want. Sometimes you're not going to get the pull-up bar or the box that you need every single time you do a workout. How can you use that for a fuel to play this long game and try to stay away from all that short-term gratification, which at the end of the day does not do as much for you guys as playing the long game and staying focused on the one step at a time? Describe some of the differences, good and bad, Dan, training by yourself in a class environment.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the good thing is that you can, when you're alone and when you're following something that is specifically catered to you, you're working on your weaknesses, you're trying to get better, and you can, for me, having like a coach look at that stuff, it helps me push myself in when I am alone, when I don't have the person next to me to go for it. But the other side of that is that sometimes, excuse me,
Want some water?
Not yet.
Okay.
The motivation, it can get tough. It's like you have to really get yourself in the mood to go out there. My warm-ups are usually 2 to 3 times as long in my gym because I'm just taking my time. Like,
Yep.
I'll get to it.
Absolutely. Yep.
And so you need to have a really, really strong why, and also I think a specific goal that you're trying to hit when you're working out alone. Because if you don't, you're just kind of aimless. You have you don't really know why you're doing it, and if you don't know why you're doing it, you're not going to put all your effort into it. Yeah.
So Kev, how does one respond to, hey, I need to have this? Like, you don't get to come to the gym that much. Like, I know you try to fit in. Sometimes you have to cancel. We've canceled each other a few times. Hey, let's try to go to this class. Oh, I canceled. This came up. Do you think there's value in someone purposely going to do something that they don't want to do by themselves, or with a class they don't like, or in a class where no one is around that they even know, they're not friends with? Do you think that there's value in that to actually get something more out of the experience when they are in that environment? Yeah. With their friends and favorite playlists, all that kind of stuff.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, you obviously, know, from owning the gym, being in that situation it doesn't always work out that you get to, everybody thinks you're the gym owner, you get all these great perks and whatever, but guess what? Like, you don't get to work out with the class. You're mostly coaching the class, especially early on and things like that. So you have to get used to it. You have to realize that the reason you're working out is not, just to be there and to socialize and to do stuff when that is your long-term goal of having, longevity in if you're talking about the sport of CrossFit or just doing it. But, ultimately at the end of the day, it is the best way to go. If you can be in the gym working out with your friends, you're getting more out of it than you are in the garage, unless you're that one person that, like, that small percentage that needs that personalized stuff. And in all reality, that's really not any of us, right? Like we're not CrossFit Games competitors.
Right.
The best thing you can do is get to the gym. It's plain and simple. But that doesn't always happen. Like that, with the majority of the members that you have here, I mean, how many of them have spouse that comes, have kids at home? It just doesn't work out that well. So if you can say, hey, for me, sometimes it's, and hopefully nobody's listening, but it's like, hey, a meeting just canceled, right? Like I can get in during this time. Nobody's going to know that I'm here, right? The little red dot is going to be on my screen and I could be working out and I'll have my phone up against the wall and it's like making sure that nobody knows that I'm doing it. But it's like, if that's the time that I can get in here.
We'll edit this out, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, and it's just, and it might not be with some of the people that I know. It might be in the middle of the day, but it's there, and the people around you are there to motivate you, and the coaches and everybody, and it's just it's good. You're not always gonna get the pull-up bar you want. It might feel a little different. There might be the barbell that doesn't spin as much as you want, but like that's life. Like this is just to move to get you better prepared for when things do happen, and you do feel like you can control your environment a little bit more. You're gonna be better for it.
I love seeing the OGs work out in class. I just saw Saturday, and I just saw two of your spouses. I saw Rhee Saturday, and I saw Ash, and you guys just came back from vacation. I hadn't seen Rhee in a while, and I partnered them up. I know they chase after it, and I partnered them up, and they chased after it, and they were like, they crushed it. It was a tough workout, the Saturday workout. It was painful, and it was long. It was like 30 minutes, and so I could see them. They would rest, they kind of recover, and then they get after the next couplet. And when I see people have done this for like 10 plus years, and they're doing that, and you could see it's almost like they're fixed. Like they came in, they got what they needed out of it. They were with people that pushed them, and then they were like, I feel so much better. I mean, I feel beat up, but I feel so much better. I'll see you guys. Yeah. And it was like, I could tell that both Ash and Rhee were like ready to like take on the rest of the day, whatever that Saturday had for them. And I'm sure they had a lot of crap they had to do. Yeah. Like they were good. And so I feel like, I mean, you guys are on the very high level of the sport competitive side of things, but for everyone else who's also been doing this for a really long time, I agree. It's I have a full garage and I could do anything I want in. Yeah. You guys both work out in your garages all the time, but I can see and you could work out whenever you want. I've seen you in the past, like you would just come in off hours and do your thing. Yep. But you dropped in on you did the class on Saturday as well. Yep. And so I know, a lot of why we still do CrossFit after 10 years or 15 years or whatever it is because of the people, because of the classes, because of what we're doing in the classes. And I think that's really one of the big reasons why I'm still doing it as well.
I mean, I think you can learn so much from any veteran CrossFitter. I mean, if you want me to put a number on that, I'd say if you've been doing it for more than 6 years, if you're someone new or somewhat new to CrossFit, watch someone, how they act, how they move, what they do for 5, in and around their workouts. You can learn so much from them.
They might be a little grumpy before, but they'll probably be a lot better after.
So, let's wrap this up with some recovery talk, because I want to know what you guys have done, what has worked and what has not worked for you guys over the years. And because this answer can change as well. A, resources, which in our case is time. B, finances can come into recovery habits. What has worked for you guys to help keep you in this game, in this kind of shape and condition at an age and life situations where almost everyone, not everyone, starts to really go south a little bit?
And I'm sure you guys have dealt with a lot of injuries too, so that comes into play as well.
What have been the key recovery components for you, Dan?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, the most important, I think, is sleep and nutrition. I think that, people want to think that that's just like an easy overlook and like, what supplements can I take? Yeah, and where, right. What ice bath can I get into? But I think if you're not eating right and you're not sleeping enough, and nothing else really matters. And obviously that right there is money and time. Yeah, 100%. I think that, with young kids, it was way harder. I definitely didn't get the sleep I got. Now that my kids are 8 and 10 now, which is a much easier age. They want to sleep longer than I do. So it's that part's
can't
easy.
Wait for that.
Yeah. And I'm a morning guy. I need to. I'm working from home now, so it's like I have a little bit. Like I don't have to come at 5 or 6 a.m. like some people do. I used to be a 6 a.m. guy, and I used to just get up. But then I would make myself go to sleep at like 9 o'clock, or 8:30, whatever it was. I'd be in bed, getting my time. And I made it a focus.
8 hours, is that your number?
Yeah. I try to be in bed. I'm actually trying to be in bed around 9 hours because I know I'm not sleeping all the time.
Okay.
So that's like there's sometimes I can't do that, but I would say 90% of the time I'm in my bed for 9 hours, and I made a very conscious choice to make that happen. And just, I like to track macros and do my nutrition that way. However you like to do your nutrition, I think that making sure that you're getting enough of all your nutrients that you need to keep your body strong, keep your body recovering, is going to go a long way.
Have you found certain treatment, like hands-on treatment?
Oh, yes.
Have you liked one more than the other?
Yeah. So over the years, I've definitely gone through injury. I've had patella tendonitis. I had a 2 millimeter tear in my patella at one point. I did lots of PT. I went through a company, Maven, which is grain paramus. And then over the last several years, I've been with Dr. John Hartman, who I go to him at least once a month. He just kind of keeps me mobile, keeps me any little tweaks he'll work out. And if I have a specific tweak, I'm in there like once or twice a week to deal with it. We worked with BFR, blood flow restriction, to heal my knee, which was amazing. It was very, very painful.
Yeah.
but an amazing treatment. So much so that I bought my own cuffs so I could keep that going. And then Marissa at All Points Acupuncture I go to her once a week, and I found I didn't know what I was trying to get out of that at first. I didn't understand acupuncture. I just was like, oh, maybe my quad hurts. Maybe you can open it up. And she does some crazy stuff sometimes where it's like the muscle will start spasming like crazy. But what I've actually felt overall is my mood is generally pretty it helps my mood. It helps my nervous system just kind of keep even.
That's huge.
Yeah.
So Kev, you're someone that I feel like is just never banged up. There's probably things that you don't always tell or disclose, but that's one thing I've ever respected you as an athlete, is there's a lot to respect about you as an athlete, as a person, but one of them is I feel very rarely are you coming in and really banged up. If you had to pick one or two things that have really helped you stay off I call it the IL, the injury list,
right?
What would they be?
I mean, I think first off, it's really just trying to be consistent in everything I do on a daily basis. I mean, for me, I just feel like there's so much out there now, whether it's, try this thing, try that thing, and people are switching around. For when we first started, it was, all these, whether it was a competitor program, whether it was this, it was just everything, especially with social media now, there's everything, you find something new every day to do.
Right.
And I think you have to kind of fall into what works for you. Fall into, proper programming, getting, consistent in the gym, focusing on your movement, rather than just being hey, I'm not the best with warming up, but just, from that being said, I'm going to just focus on moving properly, moving the right way. And then as far as stuff outside of the gym, I've always just, for me, it's been simple, with nutrition and what I decide to do, what I decide to eat, when I eat. I do think that just goes a long way with cutting down on inflammation, and you can go down to a huge rabbit hole with all that. But I think finding something that works for you and sticking with it, and really just kind of staying the course and thinking of it in terms of the long game. I think oftentimes people get pushed to do too much, too fast, too soon. And it's something where just kind of staying on your path, looking at it from, every day, just building on it, one step at a time. And, again, just doing the same thing every day, finding that routine, finding what works for you. Has really just helped me. I mean, the stuff of, like you said, sleep comes and goes, different things, but really just trying to, do your best to stay healthy and not do too much.
Is there anything specific to you that is inviolable? You're this, I I know I have to do this in order for me to stay healthy? Like maybe the sleep isn't always there, you said, but what is always there for you?
For me, it's been food. Since I started I have a journal from, I think it was 2010, and I was tracking to the almond of how many things I was eating. Like it was like, still have this book, and I'm like, I can't believe I did this. It was like 64 almonds. It was this, that, with everything in this meal. And it, of course, like some parts of it change as to like, if you're eating more this way or that way, but I've just always been super consistent with that.
Are you a macro guy?
Not well. When I have put it in and tracked it, it has stayed pretty close to the macros. A lot of it has been off of feel. I don't have like a nutritional background, but from my times of owning the gym, we would do nutritional challenges and do that. And I always say like what I do might not work, for everybody, but it has worked for me, and it's something that it's just always kind of kept me. I feel like I'm in control when I do that, and I know that I'm getting the proper fuel for my body. And for me, there's always I'm always trying something. So whether it's something from the ice baths to this, that, or the other thing, I'm always trying to do the one thing you guys talk all the time about how Adam's doing. Adam's like my go-to for the weird guy stuff. I'm like, all right, if I do something, like I'm like, all right, I'm grounding now. I got to be on the earth for 20 minutes. I got to get out in the sun. I got to do stuff. I'm always trying to do something. I've always felt like, and for me, I've always had to work harder than everybody else to get where I'm at. Whether it's a mindset or what it is, it's from the time I was younger in high school playing to now. I look at everybody around me. I'm like, all these people have more natural athleticism than I do, and I need to find a way to keep up. So it's just been trying to do things, every day to try one new thing. That's something that I can do consistently. But I absolutely drive my wife nuts because it's like, oh, what are we doing today? We're spending hours on, figuring out how to keep this ice bath cold. We're trying to like put on toe spacers. We're doing this. She, can't stand it. But it's something for me where I'm always trying to move the needle that 1%.
Yeah. I mean, it's practice what you preach, right? If you're going to say that you're actually going to try to just take a step forward every day and not obsess over like what the end result is that you want, just what's my one step towards getting in that direction. It might be toe spacers. It might be an ice bath. It might be counting your almonds. But I think Kevin and Dan both they're consistent. And I know it's such an overused word, but consistent to me is it's 7 days. It's not 5.
How about you, Dave? What's your one thing?
What, in terms of recovery or just trying to stay?
Or your secret or whatever your secret sauce is?
I mean, I would say the number one thing that I really try to focus on within a workout is just having a plan and having a goal from each single workout. And it's not always best possible score. I would even say 1 out of 5 workouts is get the best score I can. It's try to practice a pace, try a different way of moving, try to really, slow it down early, speed it up at the end. Like I always have some sort of intent behind every single time I train. And you do that for long enough, I just got done talking with Ella, Kathleen, and Amy. We all just did a couple workouts this morning in prep for Legends. And the workout started off with 50 cals, bike for me, 40 for Amy, and 30 for Kat and Ella. And then you have to do wall balls, dumbbell snatch, and then high-level gymnastics. That was, don't get on the bike and just go and wait and get, bike until you're done. Take note on what your RPMs are on the bike. And be a little aggressive today and just see. Like where did you fall apart? Where did you bottom out? How many wall balls could you do? Because the next time something like that comes up 2 years down the road, if you have a good enough memory for that, you already know. Like I knew exactly what my RPMs was going to be on that bike. And you're on that bike for 2-3 minutes. It's a little bit painful, but like I've done that before. So I think that's like one of my secret things that I don't want to say mastered because I'm always still working on it, but I go into every single workout with an intent. And it could be something silly like tomorrow we're just doing weighted pull-ups and rowing and one-arm rows and deadlifts. I already have an intent for it that I'm very specifically going after. And I think that helps out a lot. And actually kind of keeps the mind spinning, which avoids I hate this. This sucks. This is stupid. This is boring. I don't like this workout. This hurts. Like what you're going through right now with your shoulder.
Yeah.
We've all been there before where things really get banged up and it's hard to not get frustrated and pissed sometimes. And when something hurts, like I get mad now. I'm just like, come on, again, like this, that. Like my Achilles was bothering me after, running on the sand and grass, and it's like totally fine today. But yesterday I'm like limping around. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like I get pissed off, but you find a way around it. And I went to yesterday's workout that you coach on a Saturday with very different intent.
And you were mindful. You switched out for 2 machines for the box jump step overs, and then also
I did bike instead of box jump overs, ski erg instead of jump rope.
Right.
And I was tracking my splits from all 3 sections of the workout.
So you weren't just doing it; you were actually keeping track of.
I was within 2 seconds of everything. And like that is where I feel like gains can be made. It's not just try hard until you get tired.
I think that's a huge part of it. There's definitely days where something is hurting. I tweak my shoulder, my Achilles, my knee's not feeling good that day. I think that you got to think that every day in the gym can be a step forward, but it doesn't need to be the same.
Doesn't have to be a score.
It doesn't have to be a score.
Right.
Exactly. Like if something's hurting, you got to really check the ego, which took me a long time to learn, but just pull back or switch the movement and get whatever your best workout for that day is, because not every day can be the very best version of you.
And value will come out of that workout.
Yeah.
I think that's what needs to be known. Like if you have to change something, take a step back, there's still value that comes out of that session. It just might not be the result that you want.
Nice job grinding Natalia down yesterday. She never gets ground down. She was kind of tired after
Yeah,
Saturday.
that's right, Natalia. I got you. All right, guys. Well, thanks so much again to Dan and Kev, 2 weeks in a row. Really blessed to have these guys at part of our gym. If you guys come to Bison or you ever interact with them, just know that if you're in a class with them or you have a conversation with them, you're lucky. There's a lot of value that you can get out of just being around people. I'm a huge proponent of, get around people that you want to be like or that you want to emulate someday. And it's these are 2 guys that just trust me from a CrossFit perspective, especially, and from a family perspective and how you intertwine everything. These are 2 guys that you want to be around. And, they'll be more than happy to help share more experiences with you. If you ever come up and ask them some questions down the road, they have some great advice for you guys.
Or just watch them move. They're 2 of the best movers in our gym.
Yep. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for taking the time out of your day to listen to the Herd Fit podcast. Be on the lookout for next week's episode.